We're now going to look at creating and opening our work sets within our work shared project. Now you'll notice I'm in the Revit welcome screen right now. Now the reason I've done that is to make sure that one, we don't have any Revit projects open. And secondly, we need to go to the options in Revit just to set some settings that will make your life a little bit easier. So what we do is we go up to the application menu here and we click on options first of all. And what we're going to do in the general settings here, we're going to change the username. Now you'll notice I've set it to user1. Normally that defaults to your Windows login name, which in my case is Sean C. Bryant, but I've changed it to user1. Now the reason I've changed it there is to make sure that you can control your users that are using the local work sets. So what you would do here is, as a CAD manager or a BIM manager or a project leader, you would set up some usernames that would be specific to each role that each local work set is performing. So you might have user 1 slab design, user 2 beams and columns, and so on. The reason you do that is it makes the project more manageable. And also as well, you can see exactly which user is working on which part of the central Revit model. The other thing you would do as well is file locations here. And what you'd make sure of is that the default path for user files is going to the central project file folder. So I click on browse there and you can see there that I've set mine up in here in projects like so. So if I go up one level there in projects there, if I go in there, that's where mine are going to there. Revit Structure Advanced Central 1 Backup. Now that is the name of the central Revit project. So when you go to your working files, you'll find Revit Structure Advanced Central 1. That is your central Revit project where all the local files update to. So once that's all set up, I can cancel that because it's already in there, as you can see, and I'll OK that. So everything's in place. Now what I need to do is create a local Revit project file that I can work on. Now this is really, really easy to do. Once you've got that username set up and that location set up, you just go and click on Open, first of all. You then go and find your central Revit project here. Now it's a good habit to do this every morning and create a new local file every morning. And the trick there is you've then got the most up-to-date information. So if I click there now, you'll notice because work sharing is now enabled, you remember in the previous video when I clicked on work sets, it prompted me to enable work sharing. I've done that now and just gone for the default settings. So if you do the same when you're obviously practicing using these exercises, just set it with the default settings for now and you'll realize how it all works. So there's the central one, but you'll notice down here, look, I can detach from central, I can create a new local file and so on. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to tick create new local. And you'll see the file name there. So when I click on open now, it opens up a new local file. So it takes a few seconds. There we go. It's thinking about it. And what it's done there, can you see I've got user 1? So it's Revit Structure Advanced Central 1, user 1, RVT. So I've now got a local file. I'm not working on the central file anymore. And what you would do is you'd do a save as. So if I come down here, save as, project, it gives me the file name there. What I would do is I would actually change that name. Now you'll notice, look, all different backups kicking in. Can you see I've got a user 1 backup now and a central backup? All of these folders are kicking in now because you've then got an audit system. So there's the central backup, which is the backup of the central model. I've then got a central 1 user 1 backup, which is a backup of the local models for user 1. Now I'm just going to change that ever so slightly there because we want to change this to local 1 because it's a local file like so. Now I'm just naming these so that you understand that that's local and obviously that's central. I'm sure you would name these differently in your place of work, for example. So if I now click on save, that'll rename now. It takes a few seconds to load up and you'll see that the file name has changed. So I've now got Revit Structure Advanced at the top there, local 1, user 1. So we now know that it's local 1, it's the local file, and it's user 1 making those edits. Now that might have a different naming terminology in your project. That might be West Wing and user beams and slabs. Depends on what you're going to name it and how you set up your project standards, but please, 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 when you are creating and opening your local files, make sure that you do have a standard, a naming philosophy. Otherwise, this can get very, very confusing.